We think we know people, their smiles, their kindness, their words. But every day, we walk through a masquerade. Faces rehearsed for approval, laughter timed for belonging. The truth of a person doesn't live in what they say about themselves. It appears only in the unguarded seconds, when no one is looking, when there is nothing to gain. There are two simple moments that reveal who someone really is. Not their resume, not their charm, just two small tests. And once you learn to see them, the world changes. This is about those moments, the flicker of truth behind the mask. Once you see it, you will never again mistake a costume for a soul. We live in an age of performance. Everyone is performing. Even you, even me. From the way we speak to the way we smile for a camera, life has become a kind of stage. We present fragments of ourselves, edited for applause. It begins early. As children, we learn which versions of us earn approval. The polite one, the funny one, the successful one. By the time we reach adulthood, we've forgotten which face is truly ours. The philosopher Immanuel Kant once said we must act not from inclination, but from duty. Not because it makes us liked, but because it is right. That's rare in a world addicted to attention. Most people don't want to be good. They want to appear good, especially when someone is watching. We live under invisible spotlights. At work, we speak kindly to our boss, but sigh at the cleaner. Online, we post quotes about compassion, but scroll past real suffering. Our goodness, too often, is an act. Why? Because performance feels safer than authenticity. We fear rejection. We crave belonging. It's easier to wear the right mask than to stand bare before the eyes of others. But here's the paradox. When everyone is performing, no one is truly known. We see gestures, not souls. We see masks shaking hands with masks. And yet, sometimes, when the lights dim and the audience forgets to clap, the truth leaks out. A flicker in the eyes, a tone in the voice, a gesture that wasn't meant to be seen. Those are the moments that matter, because they reveal the real person beneath the role. So the question becomes, how do we see that truth clearly, without falling into cynicism? How do we pierce the performance and recognize what is real? There are two ways, two unguarded moments that reveal a person's true character, and both are hidden in plain sight. The first test is simple. Watch how someone treats those who can offer them nothing. Character begins where reward ends. When a person believes no one is watching, no one keeping score, and nothing is to be gained, what remains is truth. Imagine this. A man sits in a restaurant. He smiles at his date, laughs at the waiter's jokes, tips generously. But when his date leaves for the restroom, he snaps his fingers at the waiter, complains, mocks. In those seconds, his mask slips. I'll think of a friend who helps you move house, not because they must, but because they care. They don't post about it. They don't expect a return. Their kindness is quiet, effortless, natural. That is character. Power reveals who we really are. Because when we have power, social, emotional, financial, we stand at a crossroads, to use it to save or to use it to dominate. Kant called this the categorical imperative. Act only according to that maxim which you would will to become universal law. In simpler terms, behave as though the world were watching, even when it isn't. True morality doesn't begin when eyes are on us. It begins in the invisible hours. How we treat the janitor, the driver, the child, the animal. These small gestures draw the real portrait of our soul. In an age of social media, the illusion has deepened. We share our kindness for likes, our generosity for recognition. But that's not virtue, it's performance. Virtue begins in privacy, the unseen kindness, the untweeted mercy, the simple dignity of treating others with respect, not because of who they are, but because of who you are. So the first test is this. Observe someone when they have nothing to gain, when no audience is present, when they believe they owe no one anything. The truth will reveal itself. And when you see it, when you see someone who is gentle without reason, humble without strategy, you will feel it. Because real goodness is quiet. It doesn't need to announce itself. It simply is. The second test is less obvious, but just as revealing. It's what makes someone laugh. Laughter bypasses the intellect. It is the mind unguarded, the soul speaking before the ego can edit. What people laugh at reveals what they secretly value and what they secretly despise. You can learn more about someone's heart from 10 seconds of their laughter than from 10 hours of their conversation. Think of the different types of humor. When someone laughs at another's pain, you glimpse cruelty hiding behind charm. When someone laughs at their own flaws, you glimpse humility and light. When someone laughs only at others, never at themselves, you glimpse insecurity. Laughter is moral X-ray vision. In a culture saturated with irony and sarcasm, we use humor to disguise our discomfort. But behind every joke is a small truth trying to be heard. That's why what amuses you can tell you who you've become. Psychologist Carl Jung spoke of the shadow, the hidden self that contains what we repress. Our humor often points toward that shadow. We laugh at what unsettles us. We laugh at what we wish we weren't. To see this clearly, pay attention to what makes people laugh when they think they are safe. When there's no need to impress or censor. When laughter is spontaneous, not strategic. That's when you glimpse the raw self, unguarded, unfiltered. But remember, this isn't about judging. It's about understanding. Because once you know what makes someone laugh, you also begin to understand what they fear, what they envy, and what they love. Humor is the nervous system of the soul. It tells us where the pain is hiding. And when we learn to listen, to laughter, to silence, to what someone doesn't find funny, we begin to see the unseen parts of human nature. So the second test is this. Observe what evokes their laughter. For laughter is honesty in disguise. Once you begin to see these patterns, how people treat others, what makes them laugh, you may feel a sense of power, a new kind of clarity. But clarity can be dangerous without compassion, because seeing through illusion is not the same as being above it. We are all flawed. We all wear masks. We all fail these tests sometimes. So to see clearly is not to condemn, but to awaken, to understand that others, like us, are acting out of fear, loneliness, and longing. Judgment closes the heart. Awareness opens it. The goal is not to label people as good or bad. It is to discern with wisdom, to know who you can trust, who you must forgive, and who you must release. When you see someone acting cruelly to the powerless, you are not called to hate them. You are called to understand what blindness drives them, and perhaps to choose differently in your own life. The same tests apply to you. How do you treat those who have nothing to offer you? What makes you laugh when your guard is down? Every insight you gain about others must also reflect inward. Because the ultimate goal of this awareness is self-knowledge. To become a person whose kindness doesn't depend on audience, whose humor doesn't depend on cruelty. That is the beginning of true character. When all is said and done, these two simple tests, how we treat the powerless and what we find funny, become mirrors. They reflect not what we want others to believe about us, but what we truly are when the performance ends. The world will always reward the mask. Charm, charisma, image. These are currencies of attention, but they are not measures of the soul. The soul reveals itself in silence, in laughter, in small acts no one sees, in the way you speak to the cleaner, the stranger, the forgotten, in the things that make you laugh without thinking. If you learn to see these moments clearly, you won't just know others more deeply, you will begin to know yourself. Because the person you are when no one is watching is the only person you ever truly are. And when you begin to live from that truth, the performance ends. What remains is real. So now you know. 2 tests, 2 windows into the human soul. But here's what I want you to do with this knowledge. Watch yourself first. Before you observe others, turn these tests inward. Notice the moments when you're kind without reward. Notice what makes you laugh when you think no one's listening. Because the deepest truth is this. We can only see clearly in others what we've already faced in ourselves. This week, pay attention. Watch how you treat the person who serves your coffee. Notice what makes you laugh in private. See if you can catch yourself mid-performance. And choose, just once, to let the mask fall. That's where transformation begins. Not in judging others, but in becoming the kind of person who doesn't need to perform goodness, because it flows naturally from who you are. If this shifted something in you, let me know in the comments. Tell me, which test revealed more about people in your life? Power and kindness, or laughter and shadow? I read every comment. Your insights often become the seeds of future videos. And if you want more like this, philosophy that doesn't just inform, but transforms, subscribe and turn on notifications. Remember, the person you are when no one is watching is the only person you ever truly are. So make that person worth being.